Welcome everyone to Peel the Onion podcast. I'm really, really excited to have Dee Zibara on today. Dee is a fertility and hormonal health expert and a health business coach. It's been an amazing journey, me crossing paths with her from an early age in my life and recrossing again only the last few years. So I'm really looking forward to seeing where our conversation goes and all the wisdom and love that you share naturally, and to have you on here. So thank you.
I'm so excited to be here, especially because I purposefully didn't listen to your earlier episodes knowing I was going to be a guest on one of the early episodes. And I know we have so much between us that we can unpack. So I'm very excited to see where the universe takes us today.
Well, when I was tuning into our conversation, what kept coming up, and it was really clear, was around how you've broken out of systems. And I know as I was in that phase last year, a big one of mine, leaving the psychology system, you were kind of ready on the other side. I was in my depths and like, oh, ego death, I need to let this go, not ready yet. And just all this feminine wounding coming up of betrayal and rejection and outcast. And then you're on the other side, we're caught up. You're like, you don't need to be part of a system. You don't need all that. And at that point, I was like, this chick's not seeing me. I need to be held. And you were like, no, you get through it pretty much. You don't need all that. You were holding the light. And then, yeah, turns out on the other side, you really don't need all the titles. So I really want to jump in there and wherever you're guided with how you broke out of that cage that a lot of us are in.
You know, it's so interesting because the whole reason I became a nutritionist was I was kind of already practicing with a lot of clients things that I was implementing earlier in my life to help heal my early diagnosis of PCOS, which at the time, because nobody really knew about it, felt like a cancer diagnosis. And because my gynecologist was like, well, here's the pill for now, come back to us for IVF because you won't fall pregnant without that. I remember feeling like, but that's like, that could be 10 years away. Is there nothing else I can do? And I feel like that early introduction to a very clearly broken system made it easy for me earlier on to make decisions that felt okay to be outside of the bounds of what was familiar and normal to other people. And so it's why I just got goosebumps. It's why I chose to become a nutritionist over a dietitian. Now, I recognize when you do have a title, it is helpful for people to quickly understand what you're about, what your specialty is, and the general topic area that you help people with. So even having the title of, at the time, tossing up between a nutritionist or a dietitian, which was kind of my early introduction to like being a practitioner in the health industry. And so I actually chose becoming a nutritionist because being a nutritionist isn't tightly controlled by the government. We don't have to kind of accept their rules, although there might be people listening to be like, yes, we should, but that's not the way that I saw it, and it's not the way that they are practiced. Like, sure, there are regulatory bodies, but they are much more holistic in the way that they approach people, and they don't look at food as just a, I don't know, it's just a physical thing. Food is very much nourishment on all levels as human beings as well as energetic divine beings. And so it was just really interesting that even that choice and that decision in and of itself came with a little bit of resistance, a little bit of, but you're not a dietitian. And especially when I worked with Sarah's Day on the YouTuber and like health and fitness influencer, I got a lot of people basically with a vendetta against me, like, you're not a dietitian, so we don't have to listen to you. And that was kind of the first time that I experienced, okay, I actually, like, the people pleaser within me has to really learn this lesson, because this is obviously going to be a really important lesson for the next steps of the next chapter in my life. And so feel like even the way that I practice now, I basically, unless absolutely necessary, and I get that there is a time and a place for the medical system, but I basically practice in a way that's like, even if you've been to the ends of the earth with the medical system, you've exhausted all medical options, there is still so much hope for you naturally. And basically how people can go from, you know, not being able to fall pregnant after multiple failed IVF rounds or multiple failed pregnancy losses, that they can still fall pregnant naturally in an empowered way that feels so beautiful by basically resetting their entire mind, body, spirit. And so I feel like that was like those earlier decisions, and my early health history was my initiation into that. And then, I mean, look at where I am now. You know, I'm basically, for lack of a better word, this is just a quick sort of term, I'm basically anti-IVF unless absolutely necessary. And, you know, I'm pretty much in the most controversial, we both are, in the most controversial like realm and space when it comes to business as well. And I love that. I actually thrive on knowing that it is such a right decision for me to be part of a direct sales company with products that I truly believe in, seeing a bigger vision that a lot of people can't see. And knowing that there are people that just aren't there in their journey just yet, and knowing that I can lovingly hold that boundary and say, that's okay, that you're not there yet, or that you'll never be there. That is okay. It's just that you're not my kind of people. You're not the sort of people that I'm wanting to have in my team and help me build my business and help them build their business. And so, and even now, as the most recent kind of breaking of societal norms, we've just started homeschooling Billy too, while we're world schooling and traveling around. So, you know, I feel like the things that I do is outside of the norm.
Yeah, 100%. And it's an honor to witness you step more and more into that. I mean, when we reconnected, back in 2023 and 2025, 2 years later, where you are and how expanded you are and more embodied, it's really powerful and beautiful that you're listening deeper to where you're guided from within, regardless of what others will continue to say, because that's always on the journey, right? Particularly when you're a trailblazer and a visionary and an outsider. I'm getting goosebumps because through your challenges, you've built up this strength and resilience that actually deciding, no, that won't affect me because I'm focused on this energy and this matrix, and I hold love for all. And you do. You're not, you don't shut people off, or no way at all. And I love that about you. You're just so loving that you're still clear on what you're doing though, you know, and that comes with that peeling back and that connecting to yourself. And it amazes me because you juggle so much. I mean, I wrote a few things down that I wanted to touch on around the various hats you wear and the parts of yourself. As you've expanded, you've connected more to, that multi-dimensionality of you, and knowing you're bigger than your body, and your soul is much more than what you would have thought or known years ago. So how's that journey been for you, and have there been specific tools that have helped you embody more of that? Because I feel that's why we're here. That's my belief. We're all here on earth to expand, evolve, and help consciousness evolve and Mother Earth grow as well. That's really it in my eyes. I don't know if you agree, but coming back to my question.
Well, I think that the more that I step into my own inner power, and the more that I see that I am everything and nothing, you know, I am the most important person and then equal to everybody else at the same time, it kind of helps to drive me into my bigger mission. So yes, I have this special piece to put into the bigger jigsaw puzzle of the collective, and I have to stay so focused on my own piece of the jigsaw puzzle, or the full puzzle can't be made. And you know what's so beautiful and interesting, especially about this conversation, is that you were such a beautiful, potent reminder for me when you and I first reconnected, just the way that you are, the way that you speak, the way that your mission literally like it just exudes from your being. Like no one can be around you and be confused about what is important to you in your life and the mission that you're here on this earth for. And it's such a beautiful magnetic energy that for me, having you even, then become part of my team and me step into the role as your mentor helped me to level up, helped me to look at you and just see all of you in just that beautiful essence and just go, wow, that can be cultivated within all of us. And really leaning more into that and then seeing how my path unfolded the more and more that I leant into that. So actually, you are a big part of that inspiration. So wearing all the hats, though, it really comes back to this beautiful quote that I just shared on my Instagram yesterday, which was say yes to everything that you want and just say no to everything that you don't. So it's like be super clear on what it is that you want. If watching TV is just that example, but if watching TV is not part of your greater mission that you write down when you go within and you come out of a meditation and you're like, this is what I'm here to do, then it doesn't belong in your daily activities. And sure, absolutely, of course, there are times when we're not going to be perfect, we're not going to be perfectly structured and all of those things. But most of the time, I'm talking like 90% of the time, if what you're doing on a day-to-day basis isn't helping you achieve that greater mission that when you've tapped into your own divine self, if it's not helping it, then there's no place for it in the day, regardless of what other people are doing, regardless of what other people think of what you're doing. People might comment on something odd that you do and they will think about it for all of 3 seconds and then they'll go on their day judging someone else about something else. So it's literally such a fleeting moment. And if you can really create that bubble around you of going, okay, is there something here with that person's comment that is triggering me or that is going to allow me to look deeper and reflect on a lesson that's here for me right now? And if not, it's about becoming strong enough to just let it go. And the more anchored that you are into your own mission, your own why, the less wavering you will do when other people have a comment or when other people have something to say. And I think that it actually, all it does is just draw you closer more quickly to your tribe, to your people who at times when you're feeling a little bit maybe weaker or at times when you do waver, because those times will happen, we are human, we will have tough periods in our life, anchoring yourself into a community that doesn't let you wallow in self-pity, that doesn't enable you to let you become a lesser version of the person you know that you are meant to be and that you already are, and just help to lift you back up, remind you who the fuck you are and your mission on this earth is such an important thing as well. It's kind of like a security blanket, but also it's an up leveler constantly every day, because you're then being celebrated for the things that you do and celebrated for stepping more and more and more into your own power, as well as being inspired or activated by other people who are doing things that you would like to do in your own life. And when you find people like you who are achieving things that you would like to achieve, it just collapses the timelines for you to get there faster. Someone runs the 100-meter race in 13 seconds. Next minute, someone runs it in 12 because they're like, it can be done. That person's like me and it can be done. If it can be done for them, it can be done for me. And that level of belief is only amplified when you're around like-minded people as well. Just wearing all the hats is a combination of all of those things, but staying very much into and reminding myself daily what is important. And having children is the fastest reminder of what is important. Like in the morning when I see their face and Billy wakes up or Phoenix crawls onto me for a breastfeed, it's just like, how could anything else be as important as building the life of our dreams, being a person of impact, than these little humans? Like nothing. And so I feel like I'm lucky that I have kids that is an easy reminder and an easy anchor back into my deep why.
Beautiful. I love that so much. So much yumminess and heart expansion and few teas there too. Thank you for sharing. And yeah, honestly, the yes and saying no and that dance between human and expansion and protection and introspection. It's really is a beautiful way to sum up our journey. And from what you've shared, really the underlying theme that I feel is acceptance of what is and allowing what is to happen and unfold, whilst knowing you are a co-creator. But within that, you take responsibility for what you choose to take on and what you don't. But also, I want to highlight it's being a people pleaser in the past myself, catching some tendencies, but also high standards, high expectations, very high from a young age, which helped me achieve my academic goals for sure, the 7 years of study and the high marks I need to get. But catching that in those boundaries and acknowledging the trial and error of being a human and how that best supports me in the day. So, for example, if I do something that I've said yes to, but then I realize actually later, oh crap, I really shouldn't have. I used to beat myself up. I used to be really hard on myself because I was just so ambitious with self-development. No, I got to do better, do more, I'm not enough type. That was the underlying negative theme. And I've seen that in entrepreneurs. And, you know, there's this energy that certain people hold that it's like constant grind with expanding a life, but actually choosing to rewire it and catching those deeper layers, which I know you work really deeply yourself and with your clients, catching, okay, this isn't sustainable, really being honest with yourself, that introspection you said, building that relationship with yourself, which is constant. I mean, the other morning I woke up and I felt so raw after having a nightmare that my husband was chatting to someone else. Like these random things just come up. But knowing you're strong enough to move through them, and the reason why I'm bringing all this up is because I want to normalize that we are all human, regardless where we are on the journey. And for those people who are listening, that it isn't rose-colored, you know, and we need to constantly take courageous steps when the universe, source, God, or however you connect to that higher power, knocks on the door and asks you to take another leap when maybe you've taken a lot of leaps in the last few weeks or months and you've had enough. But hey, there's another one, and that's really where I find that expansion. It's trustful. It's trusting yourself, which all comes back to self-love, right? To tell me how you've really honed in on that connection to yourself with it, like from your childhood and what you've experienced growing up to where you are now.
It's like I've had so many thoughts as you were speaking right now, because I feel like most of society is pushed and encouraged to do more, be better, work harder, hustle more. And that is such an invaluable skill to have, because the opposite of that kind of more toxic hustle culture, the opposite is just complacency, in my opinion, right?
Yeah, playing small.
Yeah, playing small and letting life happen to you. Now, there's obviously the flip side to both of those, and there's a healthy version to both of those. And actually, it's so funny because I think that the reason that I have so much acceptance now is because I had to have a phase. I had to have a really deep awakening, I guess, and realization, and so much maybe pain attached to that part of the journey that I could then pass that point. But looking back, it was such an important part of my journey. And so that the ability to be able to look back and go, wow, if I didn't hustle hard, if I didn't think more was always better, faster was always better. If I didn't think that, I wouldn't have that drive within me that I can tap into now. And I also know my own boundaries now to know when I'm stepping into expansion and when I'm stepping into exhaustion. But that's the dance. That's the fun of it. That's the leaning in. Leaning in is actually a lot harder, but in a different way than people, I think, initially think. Because when I used to hear like leaning into the discomfort, I thought, well, leaning in sounds easy. You just lean. But actually,
I lean back. Yeah.
But it's uncomfortable is the whole point. It's discomfort is the whole point. So it's feeling that it's uncomfortable, and then going within and looking without to go, okay, like if I pull the judgment out of this moment, what's actually going on here? Can I become a third eye, looking at the perspective of what's going on and seeing how this is actually working for me instead of I'm a victim and everything is so hard? So I think the combination of like a little bit of creating neutrality, which I see as acceptance. I just see, yeah, it's more getting to a point of neutrality. But if you don't go so far in one direction and actually just let yourself see where that takes you and lean into that discomfort of that toxicity of hustle culture, how are you going to find the limit to that? You won't, because you won't know, because you'll be playing it small. Does that make sense? But then doing that with grace, with self-love, with total awareness, so that you can identify when it tips into that toxicity that actually really doesn't serve you, or that, you know, it's actually becoming destructive. It's staying and holding it in the moment and being like, I'm safe. I can move through this. I trust that I will know when enough is enough. And so that's it's only at the limit that you can then be tested to implement the tools of that kind of feminine flow, grace, ease. But you must cultivate that in moments where you're not pushed to your limits in order to be able to pull those tools out at the right time. Because you can't get to that moment of total, you know, the external of your familiar zone or your comfort zone. You can't get there and have no tools and then expect yourself to be able to move through that with grace and ease. Like, in the cultivation of knowing how to do that on a daily basis, knowing how to regulate your nervous system, knowing how to tap into your intuition, knowing how to understand that you are a divine being and that there is always, you know, this expanded awareness and this divine consciousness and a spiritual team that's always guiding and supporting you. If you don't already know that and you don't already have all of those tools set up before those moments of those push moments, then you may navigate that in a way that is damaging. You may navigate that in a way that is destructive. And that's just a lesson. It's just information for you to go back and go, okay, last time I didn't have the tools. This time I will not be left toolless.
Yeah.
You know?
But with that, to jump in, and what I've seen with my private clients and just even people I've come across in life is, gives me goosebumps, and it just always makes me giggle that this was my honours thesis. Self-reflection. Creating space to reflect.
Totally.
And it doesn't need to look a certain way. Ideally, it's great if you can write, because that helps the frontal lobe and the limbic system connect to digest emotional experiences even quicker. But just reflecting and without anyone around, being with yourself. And that's part of my mission. It's like remembering the presence that we all have within us, which is feminine being. It's being here now. It's not needing to go on to the next thing and then it, which is what you were explaining, that hustling. But I also really loved the reframing around, because for years, when I was working in corporate and then I burnt out a year and a half in, I was in consulting, mental health and wellbeing. It was a wild learning curve. But after it again, that I beat myself up. I should have known better. I should have done, that inner critic jumped in. But now where I'm at, it's, and your beautiful perspective, it's realizing actually I built evidence then that I had the determination and I still have those skills and the strength to continue because I was motivated. Yes, it was toxic because I wasn't supported. I didn't have a great manager or a team or resources. But I really lent in, and it's choosing the reframe and still learning from it and knowing your edges, which then brought me to breathwork journeys that I do with one-on-ones or in groups.
Yeah.
Over the last 3 years, I've been seeing people that come in, let's say group journey, and they're just on a mission. Force, I want to experience something that's going to change my life. And then it's that beautiful dance of having an intention and then letting it go, let God, versus has to be this way, willpower, force, low vibrational energy. And according to Gene Keys, force is a shadow. It's very low vibrational that exists within us all and our collective energy. So when we acknowledge, like you said, the tools, but it's more the cues that I pick up on, like knowing your body through creating space, knowing your cues of, oh my God, okay, my neck's really tight or my jaw, I'm grinding at night. All right, there's a lot I'm processing. They're my cues. I'm curious what you notice in your body when, you're at capacity and you need to just pause a bit to integrate. Because when we miss that integration, which doesn't need to be for hours, it could be really simple. 5 minutes every day at night, reflection before bed, that emotional detoxing.
Yeah.
What cues do you notice when it builds up?
Mine is actually quite, I was going to say like sensual, but I mean like the senses, right?
Like sexual?
No, yeah. No, I mean like I'll be quite reactive to like heat or touch. Like my irritability, I guess, is a good indication. Or if I'm getting frustrated with small things that I know normally don't frustrate me. Or let's say, for example, I mean, this is like happening so much on a daily basis, but like Billy will start going, Mum, Mum, and then Phoenix will start going, Mum, Mum, and then we're going, Mum, Mum. And some days I laugh because I find that funny. I'm like, yes, what does everybody want? And some days I'm like, what? And so obviously that response is my, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm pushing up against a wall here. There's some resistance. I'm triggered with something. There's something I need to move through. I need to take responsibility for that. And I need to use the tools that I've cultivated to help find my way back to my inner peace, my alignment, There was something I was going to say on what you had shared, but the other thing I was going to ask you was, could you repeat what writing to help you emotionally process faster, what that's connecting in the brain? Because I feel like, especially for listeners and for me, just remembering that is so powerful. So all you're saying was the frontal lobe connecting with
the limbic system, which is our emotional center. Yeah.
Amazing.
And when I did my honors thesis, it was 2017 now, 2018. So there'd be more research, but from what I found was writing, the act of writing versus typing on a phone, I think I mentioned this in another episode, was more effective, is more effective with building resilience. So it was all about self-reflection and how reflecting and asking yourself certain questions, like what would I do differently? That one's an interesting one. I've been contemplating that in the last few months, so we'll come back to that. But yeah, breaking down the stressful experience and then giving a rating, your resources, it's bringing it to the front of your mind, right? Bringing more presence to then realize, okay, I'm well equipped if this were to happen again, similar to what you said around building evidence. But a lot of us are just constantly going, and that's a trap in the self-development, personal development world, even spirituality. I say it like that because there's a whole masking there because really spiritual, it's here, spirit is here now. You don't need to do anything but be really yourself in your heart. Without going off on a tangent, it's coming back to, that acknowledgement of, okay, what I've learned through the stressful experience and integrating that in the day-to-day.
Yeah. And there was something that I think that I've recognized, literally just like was made clear for me just then, is even a couple of months ago, talking about, so force, like you said, has a low vibration, because force, I believe, is rooted in fear of something not happening if you don't go fast enough, or fear of not being enough if you don't achieve the thing,
or missing out on something.
At the same time, co-creation is force with support. Is, we say taking action, right? But it's the same. You could still be doing the same thing, but it always depends on what it's rooted in, right? It always depends on what's the story you're telling yourself around why you're taking that action, and is that action, where is that action coming from? And if it's coming from a place of alignment, then doing hard things is just helping you get to where you want to be in co-creation with the universe for your bigger mission. But if it's rooted in fear, taking action is going to come up with resistance and is going to burn you out. So one of them feels depleting and one of them feels nourishing, but both of them is taking action. And I think that what's so interesting is that months ago, we had this conversation about like taking action and stepping into our masculine energy, which is, you know, the doing, I would have felt really a little triggered. And what's interesting about that is, because I've gone into such a toxic masculine at a younger age, and then done a total like 180 flip of like just being in my feminine flow, almost like a toxic feminine of like 2 in flow, like so much flow that it don't know where to go, you know?
I like that.
You can quote me on that if you want to.
So much flow, don't know where to go. Yes, which is a framework with a whole brain child. It's by Dan Siegel. You'd really like it. It's a diagram of a person in a boat on a stream, which is beautiful. One side is rigidity and the other side's chaos. So rigidity represents masculine, but let's link back to what you said before, the masculine but even staying in your box, like playing small, but being it needs to be this way, that's force too, right? You can sway, we all sway to that left brain dominance, which is the rigidity, and then also the chaos, which is the feminine. It's like you said, so much flow, don't know where to go, not rooted, not sure, what's the vision? So really this image is the reminder to keep balance in the middle, but also honoring that we do this, and we need to do that, as we've said, to know our edges, learn. It's not expecting that you're always going to be straight, because that's a trap in itself.
That's right. And you know,
that's an ego. Yeah.
I was doing a chakra meditation, and even the energy centers plugged into our own bodies are a structure. And energy can't flow in the way that it needs to without that structure within our bodies. So it's just so, I mean, also if you look at like our physical being and our cells, that's matter. That could also be our structure, because we need physical structure around our cells. You know, every cell has a skin, which is our membrane, and blah, blah. And then it's got the mitochondria, so there's structure there. And water flows through that, and nutrients flows through that. So it really is like everything is both energy and matter, physical and non-physical, structure and flow. And so being able to cultivate both of those tools is always a work in progress. We're always working towards that. And if we can recognize that that is what we need to understand and see within our environment, and figure out, okay, does this situation Or does this period of my life right now require more flow, or does it require more structure? Does this business I'm currently running, does it need more systems, or does it need more creativity? You know, even with my fertility magic clients, do they need more, again, like structure and routine throughout their day, more focus on physical detoxification, or do they need more shifting of energy? Do they need more support with each other? Do they, you know, just thinking of the masterclass that you did for my fertility magic clients on that, like building that supportive relationship between the parents to be, like, what does it need? And each situation is not going to be the same. And you will be a new person basically every single day. And so you need to look at each situation lovingly and respectfully with new eyes and go, what does the situation really need? And then tune into and tap into and bring the skills in that you have so far to the situation or yourself or the period of time, what it needs, because it's not always going to be the same. And even if you're in a period of super like flowy energy, creativity, femininity, which is had just been in, I now step into the next chapter and go, I see this real need for balance. And now that I've lived enough life to really look at significant time periods in my life, retrospectively, I see, oh, that was masculine. That was toxic masculine, like largely, not like every single day was toxic masculine or whatever, but I see the like kind of patterns and go, I see how I evolved there. And then I see that I took those skills, those transferable skills, I took the good things of that period, and then I moved to the next period and had another evolution and then another evolution, and kind of just looking back on my own journey with like a lot of love and compassion to who I used to be and who I was in the past, allows me to look at myself now with compassion and acceptance, knowing that I'm not always going to get it right, because in the past I didn't, but that all led to my greater, higher evolution. So why would now be any different? And the same for the future, you know?
I remember you telling me what you say or said to Billy around, you know, if you fail or if you fail, fall short, you just get back up again. And you shared that when we've caught up before. Why don't we adults just act like that too? You know, we fail, we just try again. And that's that beautiful acceptance and compassion.
And don't judge themselves until we teach them to judge themselves. Shake it off and then just try again. And one thing that Gus and I are trying to do every night is we ask Billy, and we will ask Phoenix when he can tell us, but we ask Billy first, what were you most proud of? Because that trains self-reflection. And secondly, what mistake did you make today that you feel like next time you would do it differently? And I chose the word mistake specifically, even though it does have like a negative connotation, because it's okay to make mistakes. In the same way that it's okay to feel your feelings, it's okay to have a blow up, it's okay to scream at them, it's okay to scream at your children. All of those things are okay and are emotions. It's how you interpret that situation, what you do after that situation. That is the most important thing. It's like, you know, that reparation is the most important thing for relationships. And so trying to get Billy into that habit of, okay, I accept every single day, I know, because Mummy and Daddy, we all talk about our mistakes and we all go around and we say our mistakes too, and the thing that we're most proud of ourselves as well. It, you know, just normalizes that we make mistakes and it's just a learning curve. And next time we do it like this. Billy was trying to make a smoothie in the Thermomix and she didn't put a lid on the top and it went everywhere. And you know, instead of in that moment, like going to, and I'm not perfect at all, so let's just put this in there for context. But in that moment, I remember thinking to myself, when someone drops something, is my initial reaction, oh no, what have you done? And at times it is. At times it definitely is. And so it's training myself, oops, something's happened. Is this really that big of a deal? Can I just wipe all the smoothie off the splash bag of the kitchen? Yeah, it's all good. And just saying to Billy, hey Billy, did you notice We have beautifully decorated our kitchen with lovely berry. What do you think that we could do differently next time? Letting her decide, oh, okay, next time I will remember to put the lid on. And then the next, literally 10 minutes later, she did the same thing, but she put the lid on this time. And I was like, oh my gosh, she learned. Yeah. She learned as a parent.
But I love the activating of, yeah, your children's brain, not actually jumping in. You could be calm. Okay, we'll clean it up. But then where's the learning?
Yeah,
You
that's
know,
right. That's
to
right.
ask themselves, or yeah, beautiful. Activating that frontal lobe again.
Yep. And that self-reflection, like you said, I think is like, that's just so, it's so key. As children, as adults, because, you know, you could murder someone, and as long as you have the self-reflection on really like what that action actually means, if you can grow as a human to really recognize, okay, I got to this point because of the, you know, I know that's like a really heavy example, but like doing the crime doesn't mean that you can't completely change and you can't completely reinterpret what that means and evolve into the kind of person that can look back with compassion at yourself at the time and just go, wow, that was such a quote unquote bad decision to make at that time, but I see how I got there and I'm never going to let that happen again. And I could see all the pain that created, and I can still hold myself in compassion and go, I was there. And as long as you progress and you move forward, being able to look back and hold yourself in compassion with the decisions that you make at the time that you just cannot change, no matter how much you could hate yourself for it. It's what you do after that, I think, that is most important. And then really learning with that self-reflection, okay, what does this mean that I need to do in my future to make sure that the path is realigned to somewhere I really want it to go, knowing that it's not going to be perfect, but overall, it's going to actually be the direction that I want to take myself in.
And for all those who are listening, it's realizing again, look, we're going to slip up, as we've said, and forget to self-reflect. It can sound really straightforward in our conversation, but acknowledging that the universe beautifully mirrors back what you need to learn. So let's say there's a lesson you haven't learned yet. Or actually, I don't really like that view. I feel like it's quite
it's like
quite harsh.
Yeah.
A mirror for a part of you that you need to see. That's what feels most aligned for me, actually, is your life, your external life will hold up mirrors. It doesn't mean it's always for you. Like, it's not something that you always need to see, which ties back to what you said around, is this a trigger? Do I need to look into this more from this person's response? Let's say someone's said something really rude, you felt wounded, triggered, a part of you's come up. Okay, that's insight for me to dive into it. We're not always going to be ready to do that.
Yeah.
So that then another situation might happen. So this is what I mean by the mirror. Another person, or even just you watch a movie and you feel really triggered, a similar theme. Okay, and until the soul is ready to dive in a little deeper, because the tool's are always there. You know, I used to teach clients we need to build the toolkit, and yes, we do in ways, but being on the journey of expanding and but deeper connection to my heart and spirit and soul is realizing it's just remembering, and that stripping back. But it's beyond us.
Yeah.
Like, I get goosebumps because we're coming from lineages, generational, what our women and men have passed down. So this is where the roots, this is the deeper significance that I'm really passionate about. It's like remembering who we are before technology advancement took over, and before feminine repression, when women were queens and goddesses. And you know, it kind of reminds me of Barbie now. We're trying to find that balance of the feminine and the masculine in balance together, and back to rowing that boat. How interesting, it's all tying back, the rigidity and the chaos. harmony within ourselves, wholeness within ourselves.
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm going on a journey there myself. To tie it back feels tricky right now. But
Well, I actually have a really interesting perspective on
yeah.
something that you just said, which may bring this home for us, or we just switch gears, whatever works. But what you said, I think that I'm so passionate about talking about at the moment is, you know, like lessons that come up, and it's like holding a mirror up. Sometimes you see the mirror and sometimes you don't. So then you keep going lifing and doing all the life stuff.
But it's
And
not
then the mirror,
always a mirror though. It's not always. Yeah.
that's right. That's
Yeah.
right. It's
Yeah.
the thing is that, well, I actually think it always is. This is what I was going to say. It's
Yeah.
actually maybe not so much a mirror to me.
Yeah.
It's more chance. And the chance is it's an opportunity to complete the cycle. So it's an opportunity to complete the fight or flight response, which breathwork does this very nicely, where something happened either in your lifetime or lifetimes before you that are impacting you now, where a situation with the right perspective, if you can see it with the right eyes, which just depends on kind of where that person is at, that opportunity, which then we see as, if that opportunity keeps coming up, that's a pattern, right? That opportunity comes up for us to heal and finish that cycle in completion. So the way that I explain this to clients at the moment, I do a lot of this with my fertility magic clients at the moment, and even with, you know, distributors that I'm coaching as well within a magic. There's even other little things that come up for them, and this is just a great opportunity to see it with new eyes. Is if there is a pattern that's reoccurring in your life, the universe is giving you opportunity after opportunity to finish the cycle, because wherever the cycle started, there was something that happened. There was a fight or flight response. There was a shutting down or a rejection of yourself, or a separation or a disconnect or something like that. The universe gives us opportunities to step back into that moment in ways that look very similar. You're never going to have the exact same moment again, but in very similar looking moments. So it might look and feel very similar, which is what is creating that trigger in you, because you're like, your body is like, well, this looks and feels quite similar. Is this the same thing? But it gives you an opportunity to lean into that discomfort and complete the cycle. So lean into it, see what's there for you, see what lesson to extract, see what new evolution you need to step into to be able to then complete the cycle, because we will always come back to that rest and digest. We will always come back to that balance, completeness, wholeness, that like you're talking about.
And the seasons, the cycles, like we're constantly in that pattern. Yeah. Beautiful. Thank you for elaborating on that. I totally resonate, and I'm going to sit with that a little more later in terms of patterns over the last few months. And it always excites me.
There was a visual that you gave to my clients that actually makes me, I actually in my mind put a circle on top of it. And it was the one of the mountain where the top level is freeze. And actually it's a really good example of how, you know, we're in our rest and digest at the bottom, then we access our fight or flight. Sometimes we freeze and we pause that moment in time. It's like a half completed race. And so when the universe gives us these opportunities, it throws us back into the top of the circle at the peak of the mountain to step back into it, to go, okay, I'm gonna finish this off. So you go back into, you kind of like go back in and you press play on the intensity of wherever you left off before. And now as a person with a bigger toolkit, maybe a stronger connection, maybe more energy, maybe different perspectives or new perspectives, you then step into that same moment, you press play where you had frozen before and press pause before, and then you complete the cycle. You go out of freeze, back to fight or flight, and all the way back down to rest and digest. So that's actually your visual that I just put a little circle in my mind on top of to like finish the circle and like have that wholeness return, so that you can move to the next trigger.
To the next growth cycle. That's nice. The polyvagal curve or theory. I love that one. There was so much in that and now I'm blank, but
Well, I've loved chatting with you because I know that
I
our
know.
conversations are so like they're so beyond, they're so layered back that we've peeled so many
Is it the
layers.
projectors?
Yeah,
We're just like
yeah.
zooming out and zooming in like
A couple of
eagles.
projectors talking about the meaning of life. You know.
I know, it's flown. It's absolutely flown. Was there anything you wanted to end on or to share with what we've shared? And that will give me a
Well,
minute to think the same.
yes. The first thing is obviously I mentioned murder before, and if anyone is triggered or has had a reaction to that, I know a therapist you can talk to to reach out to. Her name is Olivia.
Thanks, love.
But also I
Yeah.
think, you know, if people resonate with, you know, I guess my way of looking at life and my way of being a human and working through your humanness while also doing your divine work, I like to, I cultivate those same skills in my different particular unique passions in the work, specific work that I do in this world. And so when we're talking about the creation of life, obviously I work a lot in fertility. I have so much passion in conscious creation, in conscious conception. And if working with me resonates with you in your lead up to creating a new life and being able to reap the return on investment for that for the entirety of your child's life, being a beautiful cohort, having a beautiful, healthy, thriving baby, and having a beautiful family unit, then I really encourage you to reach out to me and let's work together. And if you're on the other side, maybe you're way pre-baby making era or you're post your baby making era, I still work with people on their health. And yes, we do detox and hormones and gut health and all those things, but we also do, like we were talking about here, that masculine, feminine energies and completing the, you know, fight or flight response and looking at your mindset and helping you to understand what is your body showing you that your soul wants you to see. And if you feel called to work with me on your physical health, but through tools that are beyond your physical health, then I would also love to work with you as well.
The mind, body, spirit healing that overlaps in our service to the world. And where can people find you?
I am on all platforms basically as Dee Zibara, and my website is deezibara.com.
I'll put in the show notes so people can find you.
Thank you.
Yeah, felt like 5 minutes.
I know, didn't it?
Which says a lot, and we could honestly speak for hours, but I know we'll have another opportunity to share wisdom again in this way with the community. So thank you so much for creating this space and coming from your heart as always and being really honest with where you're at and where you've come and acknowledging everyone else's journeys, but at the core of it, staying with love, compassion, and acceptance to what is here now.
Well,
So
thank you
be
for
it.
being my inspiration for a lot of that. So you are very much in so many ways that you don't even realize a big teacher for me. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Alrighty. Thank you everyone for listening. We'll be in touch soon. Bye.
Bye.